Okay.
Now you are live, and this time it's for real and actually public.
Oh, is it really? Whoa, it works this time.
I think it's actually going to work this time. All right,
Hooray.
which means
I still can't see it, but I'll figure it out.
that the hour plus of testing has
Yeah.
finally paid off, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, look at all this. There's a lot of chat coming in. Hello, everybody on the chat. You all are
Hi.
very, very early. Oh my God. See, okay, it's all highs right now, which is good. But
Yeah.
we already have a question such as, why am I ginger? I could say genetics, or I could say maybe you fell into a vat of red dye.
Fair.
Things like that do
Fair.
happen, like the Joker, That's not genetic. All right, it says 3 are watching. I don't believe that because there's a lot of people in the chat. Oh my gosh. Okay. But yeah, I do think we need to wait a little bit before we start doing things. And there is a different URL. I bet you the one that I
Okay,
gave you
yep.
works, but apparently there's also youtube.com/c/ThomasFrank/live.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. Sweet. All right, we now have 550 people watching right now, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and toss this link over on Twitter, just in case people don't happen to have notifications. I may just tell them, hey y'all, doing a quick live stream and some Q&A. All right.
There will be both Q's and A's.
Yeah, so your job is to help me get questions and maybe save them in a note or something, because
Yeah.
the chat is insanity right now.
I'll get a little text editor. I'll get a text editor.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up a little text edit window as well, just so I can maybe
Oh, wait. Yeah.
maybe pull a few out and save them, because these things take a while. Anyway, Skyrim or Fallout 4? Here's a question for you.
I like Skyrim better, but I personally don't like Fallout's aesthetic.
Yeah, Fallout is very...
It's all bleak
Fallout's
and
so
gray.
bleak. It's like the bleakest, grayest thing, and I don't know about you guys, but
It makes sense.
I like happy, sunny,
is
fun,
flavorful.
ventureful, bright games. I like some vibrance to my games.
Yeah.
I'm playing Deus Ex: Mankind Divided right now, and even that, while a pretty bleak game in its subject matter, the world is filled with neon and bright screens and just the most, I don't know, it's super cool looking.
Yep. Pretty colors.
Anyway, okay. So, hi guys. We're going to do some Q&A today, but I just want to make clear this is an absolute test stream. And we're doing this because Martin really wants me to do live podcasts. It's all your fault, actually.
Yeah.
I would just like to sit
What are you
like a
gonna do?
curmudgeon in my room and record things and let people hear it for, I don't know, eons afterwards, long after I've become a dead skeleton.
Yes.
But YouTube seems to like live things. I like trying new things, and you're up for live things. So, yeah. Since this is on the main channel, I think a lot of people don't actually know who you are unless they're
Oh.
podcast listeners. So,
Yo.
do you want to introduce yourself,
I'm
good sir?
Hello, I'm Martin. I do stuff. I'm on the podcast. You
Yeah.
should check it out.
I used to say you're my roommate, but you're actually not anymore.
Yeah, I'm not.
But you're my apartment building neighbor. Howdy,
Yeah.
neighbor.
Yeah, howdy, neighbor.
And I guess partner in crime over here at College Info Geek.
Lots of crime.
So yeah, he helps me edit my podcasts, and he helps me do this now and host the podcast, and I guess we're going to try out some live stream stuff. I think what we may do with this video, we actually have it recording on another camera behind the webcam, so I'm
Hello,
thinking
camera.
I might upload this to some channel at some point in better quality, and then we're mainly going to use it as a test for a potential live streaming podcast solution at some point. And we'll see what happens. So, let's see here. Here's an easy question. What are you guys drinking?
Water.
That's an easy question. I'm drinking winter chai. There's a
Yes.
cool tea house. What's it called? Kucha?
Yes.
Kucha
it is
Tea
called
House in
Kucha.
Boulder, Colorado. And they sell 4 or 5 different kinds of chai. And I wanted to get the spiciest one that they sell. So,
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
do look out of focus. I don't think we can get close enough to the webcam.
yeah, I think the webcam is
The-
built for
the
really
second
close people.
camera is going to be in focus. This is a test. We're working on it.
We're basically using what we have. I'm doing what I
Doing what you
I'm doing
can
what I
with what
can
you
with
got.
what I got,
Yeah.
and I'm pounding out new sounds. I never stop. If this works out well, I may just go buy better streaming cameras. My
hey,
camera
I am
back
the
there,
mise en place, dude.
my good one, does not. Ooh, I want to write that down. My good camera can't do live streaming because it doesn't have like this clean HDMI out port. So
Oh yeah.
I'm out of luck there. Yep. Well, okay, never mind. It can, but there is no way to not have all like you can see the gump, right? Like all the words and text and a little blinking red icon. And
Yes.
that like will always be on the output. Even if you try to turn it off on the
yeah.
LCD, it'll always be there.
So we can't turn off the HUD for output.
Yeah. So I basically need to get a different camera that will work. So there's a question here that I think is pretty good from Ollie. What is your educational background? I get this question a lot, and I think people might be interested in what yours is as well.
Okay.
So people sometimes think that I'm like a psychology major or an education major. I actually graduated in something called MIS, which is Management Information Systems. So I wanted to be an IT guy. Like I basically wanted to run the networks at a big corporation. And then I did that during one summer as an intern, and I hated it. So I decided to do this instead. And I have really no formal background in education, but a lot of good stuff is on the internet, and Google is your friend, and I know where to find scientific studies, so I was able to just kind of create things up on my own.
Yep.
But yeah.
I
What about
majored
you,
in the
my
same
friend?
exact thing. Same thing.
Yeah, but you took a pretty different approach to it, because MIS wasn't your initial intention, right?
No, I started out majoring in French, and then I changed to MIS, and then I was just going to learn French on the side and do all that stuff because I figured a degree in French wasn't. I wanted the degree in computer stuff because I knew I could very easily pay off my loans with the computer stuff I knew how to do.
Yeah.
So
And weren't
I
you
did
going to
that.
do linguistics before French or something like that?
I considered that a lot, but I didn't end up going with it.
Mm.
And I ended
Bet
up
you
doing,
regret that now that we know our linguistics friend.
Well, maybe I would know our linguistics friends had I done that.
That's true, actually. Yeah, butterfly effect right there.
But yeah, MIS, language stuff, and web development. That's pretty much
So yes,
what I know about.
the two study guys on YouTube did not major in education at all.
No.
All right, so here's a good question. I'm an older student. I'm in my mid-50s. Do you have any recommendations for adults returning to student life as full-time workers? So, and I guess this is good for any student that's also working part-time, full-time. How do you balance full-time work with your studies?
Is this full-time studies, and is it at a university or community college? These are things that change the equation a little bit, because I know a lot of older students at community college, much more so than at my university.
It does change the equation a bit in terms of the intensity, I think, but
Yeah.
there's still some general guidelines we can probably give for how you balance work and studying.
Yeah.
And you worked right off the bat, right, in college?
I worked after 3 months. First 3 months I was
3
getting
months.
used to it, and then
Okay.
I got a job.
I had a job before college started at my college.
Yeah. At the college you were going to
At the
before
college.
you started?
Yes, because so I had it in my head that I was going to be a bus driver for the college, because bus drivers make, I think, like 14 or 15 bucks an hour, and my conception of college kid job was you flip burgers or you sack groceries or you mow lawns or something like that, and I was like, those all pay basically nothing, so I'm going to go be a bus driver. And then my friend was like, hey, did you know that the IT center on campus hires students to fix computers? And I was kind of like, I can sit on my butt and fix computers and
Yeah.
get paid for it as a student? So I applied, I got my job, and they hire a bunch of new students every single semester before the semester starts to help with everyone else coming in, because all the new freshmen aren't going to know how to hook their Xbox up, and they
Yeah.
all forget their password every 5 minutes. So they need all these kind of people. And so I started that, and it was really helpful for me because the job did not have set hours. They had like this crazy calendar that would open up every single week, and it was like a shark feeding frenzy. Everyone could go in, claim as many hours as they wanted, and once they were claimed, like they were gone.
Not
So
stable at all.
it was, yeah, absolutely not stable. I was like sitting on my computer hitting refresh over and over and over again right before the calendar would open. And what that ended up doing was I wasn't able to get the same hours every week. I wanted them for the most part, but I couldn't get them. So I had to get like super serious about Google Calendar. And right off the bat, I had color-coded calendar, which I definitely recommend doing, with my work hours, and then I would put my class schedule in there, and every day at a glance I could see, all right, I am working from this time to this time, and I've got class from this time to this time, so I can plan in advance when I need to do my homework and when I need to maybe batch smaller tasks together so I actually have time for homework.
Yeah. Yeah, when I
That
was
was helpful.
when I was doing a job and I was studying a bunch of languages on the side and I was taking my classes, I also had like Google Calendar has very specific times. Here's a study time for this language. Here's a study time for this language. Here's my homework for this class. It's very specific because otherwise it's really easy to get overwhelmed by like the 40 things you could be doing and then do none of them instead. And then hours have passed while you decide what you're supposed to be doing. So time management via calendar is helpful.
Yeah. I think the other thing I want to mention here is something
Online
that's become...
classes are pretty great.
Yeah, actually, when you're in university, there are, at least our university had a lot of online classes you could take as part of being at the university, which seems kind of counterintuitive because you don't get a class or like...
Well, there were some where like you take the tests.
You go to the
there.
proctor test area, but you don't...
And you meet like
actually,
once
you
or
know
twice
what? The
throughout
online
the
classes
year.
I took at Iowa State, I did have a professor. So I could physically go to office hours. So the only thing I really lost out on was time in class with... other people,
with
I
like
guess.
other students.
Yeah, I didn't have that. So that was good. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that I've noticed a lot of my friends who have part-time jobs now, or full-time jobs, sorry, they come home and they're too tired to do any of the things they aspire to do. So I kind of view going to university as like that side project to your full-time job, especially if you are full-time. And yes, you may have to put a lot of that work after your work hours, but if you can, maybe wake up when you're like a little fresher in the morning and do an hour of work or something like that.
Yeah, so that you're not already like done thinking for the day.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to feel drained.
Exactly. Like in my case, I do my reading every morning before I start my work because I don't want to read after my brain is all drained from all the day's work. So I do it in the morning when I'm fresh.
All my good habits are first thing. Then I work.
I think if you can take anything that has more structure and control to it, external to like your own willpower, and put that later on in the day, then that structure motivates you to get things done. Whereas the things that are more up to you, you want to give yourself as much mental energy to deal with those and to discipline yourself to do them.
Yeah, and I found that when I was working and I had stuff to do afterward, even at school, if I was working and I knew I had homework or I knew I had some stuff to do later, while I was working, I would dread the homework and stuff coming up a lot more just because I'm like, I'm already tired now. I've got to work another 3 hours. And there's that stupid paper I did not write yet.
Yeah,
so it feels worse and kind of emotionally drained me prior to doing the homework, which wasn't helpful.
So we have some eggplant emojis in in the chat and some game control.
Eggplant is healthy?
Yeah. And just so you guys know, anybody who's come into the chat like later on, our camera literally cannot focus far enough to get our faces in focus, and that's just...
If I could do this, but it's going to hurt me.
Yeah, if I just like come forward like that, there you go. Is that what you guys want from me?
Yeah. I could break my neck.
Suffer for my art. Anyway, it's a webcam, and we wanted it to be... Like, we wanted to be further enough back from the computer that we'd both be in view, so eventually I will invest in a better camera. Yeah. And also, if the audio and video are out of sync, we did spend about 20 minutes trying to get them in sync by adding delays to the audio, but it's tough to test. So we'll keep working on it.
It's a work in progress. It'll get better.
This is very much a work in progress.
We didn't even know we were doing this until like this morning when we were like, let's just do it. I don't know.
Somebody in the chat said, is Martin the mise en place dude?
Mise en place.
Yes, you are definitely the mise en place dude. And yes, I am looking at the chat, guys, but the chat is going really fast, so it's very tough for me to see anything here.
Yeah.
I have noticed a couple of questions on meditation here. And I know we talked about this on the podcast recently, but because a lot of people don't listen to the podcast, let's talk about that.
Okay.
How do you meditate, and what do you get out of it?
How do I meditate? Well, I meditate when I get right out of the shower because I have these cool meditation pants, and when I feel cleaner, it's easier for me to like throw out all other feelings. I can't meditate and like have really gross hair or something at the same time. So I get out of the shower, I put on my cool Thai fisherman pants that I meditate in. They're really comfortable. I just looked up meditation pants on Amazon. I didn't specifically look for Thai fisherman pants, but they're really comfortable. And then
I think you did, though.
I go out and I sit on my zafu, which is a little cushion that you sit on so that you can, you'll see like on TV or in video games people meditating, or they'll have their legs crossed up on each other in full lotus position, or you'll have one leg on the other in half lotus. And a zafu, what that cushion does is makes it easier for you to sit like that while maintaining balance, because if you do it straight on the floor, it's going to be harder on your joints.
Yeah.
And zafus are very traditional. So I sit on the zafu, and then sometimes I'll use Brain FM because I really like the Brain FM music and the noise canceling headphones that I have, because then I can explicitly drown out everything else in focus. But if
Do they have specific meditation tracks?
Yeah.
Okay. I only use their focus tracks. So.
They have meditation stuff. They have
Right.
It might be under relaxation, I'm not sure. But I also
Gotcha.
do the one where you can pick your theme a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll do like chimes and bells or stuff like that. But they've got a meditation section. And I'm either doing that or I'm just enjoying the silence of the morning. And I'm usually just focusing on my breath, noticing the positions of all the parts of my body. And or if I want to, ahead of time, I'll decide this is one where I'm going to think about a problem and I meditate on a specific thing. And so in one way, I gain peace and relaxation. It relaxes my muscles and it helps me separate between two tasks. So if I've just done all of my habits in the morning, shower, and then meditate, it gets me, I clear out all the habits I did that morning. And now
So
I'm
you
mentally
meditate-
more ready to get to work.
You do it after the morning routine then, like after everything else.
Yeah, for the most part,
Okay.
I'll prefer to do a lot of things before that, and then that will help me separate things. I like to use meditation to separate two different topics so that my brain isn't yelling about what I just got done doing.
Yeah. So, serious question here. What's the point of like the pants and the zafu and like all the...
The pants is just comfort because
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to wear shorts. It's not as comfortable for me, and I don't want to wear jeans meditating. That's definitely not comfortable when I'm sitting on the
Yeah,
zafu.
that doesn't make sense.
The pants are just for comfort. The zafu is there because it's the way I'm sitting is important because I like sitting half lotus.
Okay, so you just personally enjoy sitting
I
that
personally
way.
prefer it, and I meditate better that way. You can meditate just laying down or sitting on a regular chair or doing whatever.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have this view of meditation as like if you're not, I don't know, sitting on the edge of a mountain,
Yeah.
watching the sunrise with your fingers in like this position and sitting cross-legged, then you're like doing it wrong.
Now, we were saying on the podcast the other day, it's not about looking like a Tibetan Buddhist monk. It is mostly about recentering yourself. And sometimes you're
Yeah.
training yourself to focus. You're explicitly trying to focus on one thing or nothing so that you get used to not picking up distractions every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
it's
think you
definitely
could have
not
a lot
about
of-
being Dalsim.
Right.
You don't need to be Dalsim and shoot yoga fireballs.
I have tried a lot of techniques. None of them work for shooting yoga fireballs out of my mouth or hands.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to you guys if I ever figure that out.
There's a dream shattered.
Yeah, I want to point that out because I think like there's a lot of things you can do meditation for, like a lot of reasons. And some people literally just want to be at peace
Yeah.
and maybe just take a break from all like the external stimuli that they indulge in, like YouTube or video games or whatever. For me, it is purely to train my focus muscle, essentially. It's basically
so
just be like,
you're doing
can
utilitarian
Yes.
style.
Can I focus on one thing that is boring, that isn't like a video game or music for a period of time? And for me, it's just 5 minutes. And I
Yeah.
find that tough because my mind is very active. So I sit on the couch sometimes. Sometimes I'll sit cross-legged on the floor, but I'm not as flexible as you or
Oh yeah, you
most
said
people.
you don't feel comfortable doing that.
No,
and you don't like
I'm
to
not
meditate,
a flexible
right?
person. No, I
You
hate
don't enjoy
meditating.
it. So we're a good counterbalance. I'm into all the like peace,
Yeah.
half lotus nonsense, but Tom just wants to sit on the couch and train his focus muscle.
That's all it is.
It
It's
works
just,
for both of us.
I just like breathe slowly. And I remember reading a study once where this woman went out and she actually observed people in coffee shops. And she noticed that when people are on their computers, they're doing their work or they're doing whatever, they tend to breathe shallowly.
Yeah, I remember you
Unconsciously, they
talking
just
about
start breathing a lot more shallowly and they're not taking deep and deliberate breaths. And that shallow breathing is tied to anxiety in the central nervous system, which can cause all sorts of stress problems. And she did notice that like trained musicians, especially ones like that played woodwind instruments or any sort of like breath instrument, or trained athletes, they tended to not have this problem where even when they were engrossed in YouTube or engrossed in their work, they would breathe deeply and normally.
That makes
So,
a lot of sense. So you're
for
accidentally
me-
getting all anxious because you're breathing shallowly.
Exactly, or you're just not thinking about that. And I
Yeah.
notice like whenever I play Overwatch, I'll start breathing very shallowly and I'll get really stressed out.
Well, yeah, it's because
So,
you're playing Overwatch.
I'm just constantly getting killed and it's terrible. So I consciously try to breathe while I play that game, but also during meditation, it's all about slow, deep, deliberate breaths. In yoga class, they taught us yogic breath, which is fill the diaphragm, let the chest rise, it's both things, and then let them all come out.
That sounds a lot like a
tighten the
yoga
muscles.
flame, I'm going to be honest.
I'm trying to get the flame to come out of my mouth. Like, seriously, that is a cool superpower, and I need it. Honestly, like, everything I've done so far has just been secretly to get superpowers somehow, and I feel like if I get famous enough, I can meet all, like, the secret superpower givers that probably work for the government.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say here. But I focus on my breath, and so it's a dual purpose thing. Train that deep breathing that can apply to my work later on in the day, and also train my ability to focus on that breath, which is boring, like my work a lot of the times. A lot of times writing a script or editing a video or whatever it is boring, and I want to train myself to be okay with that and not feel like I have to go over to Twitter every 5 seconds or watch the next YouTube video.
Yeah, it's going to help you work better or focus better on anything.
Yeah,
even just a TV show, so that you don't feel the need to, I'm going to check my Twitter while I'm watching a movie I really wanted to watch.
Oh, I hate
if you
that.
teach yourself to focus, you can actually enjoy just relaxing too.
Mm-hmm. It frustrates me to no end when people pull out their phones during a movie.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a movie that I asked them to watch with me.
Oh, yes, then they're not really watching it.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, no, I saw that scene. No, that was important.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of questions. And I have a cool question that I wanted to pull out of the chat, but a lot of people are asking about exams and stuff. I've got, if you just go to the homepage of the channel, I've got a whole playlist on exam prep, so check that out. And actually, that reminds me, we have a whole page on the site for exam prep, don't we? Pretty sure we have.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we do.
I believe you.
It's actually on the front page of the website right now.
Oh, yeah, that.
I'll throw it in the chat. It'll probably get buried in like 2 seconds, but
yeah.
Bam. Somebody asked, work for money or work for love?
Well,
it's a good question.
I guess
I do run a money podcast.
That's a tough question. For me personally, I would be okay doing a job that wasn't my favorite if it enabled me to do stuff that was my favorite on the side. If you can do both at the same time, obviously that's awesome, and some people obviously sacrifice money for what they want to work on. But
yeah, like, wasn't there some like really well-known artist that said that recently that I shared to you? I can't remember. I don't remember who it was, and I don't want to like have a bunch of dead air from us trying to think of it. But I do remember
what they said?
There was some pretty well-known artist who they make their living making art, so they're in that camp. But they did say, like, you don't necessarily have to get paid and make a living doing what you love to do. You can have a job that maybe you enjoy, maybe you get some fulfillment out of, you feel competent or have some autonomy in.
Yeah.
But that just pays the bills and enables you to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, making videos isn't always what I want to do. I do like doing it, but I mean, I've been doing it for 3 years at this point, and I do have other interests on the side. Like right now, I'm playing guitar and I'm learning game development, and I have zero intention
you don't need to be paid
of
for those
becoming a
things.
musician or become a game developer or like becoming a dancer or anything. I don't want to become like a pro DDR player. I love doing those things.
Yeah, he does.
But
he just doesn't know yet.
What? That I'm going to be.
You're going to be a pro DDR
player?
I know you want it.
I think the DDR scene is basically dead at this point, so I think there's no way to become
the easiest way
pro.
to become the best.
So I guess like there isn't a hard and fast answer to that question, but I do want to say that I want to put a counterpoint out there to all the people who say like you have to follow your passion and do what you love for a living. It depends on what your passion is. If it's something that doesn't really have like a clear-cut monetary path, like you don't have to go for it. Now I don't want to discourage anybody who's like really gung-ho about that. You know, my cousin was like super into music, and he spent a few years of his life touring the country playing in a metal band, and now he's not doing that for a living, but like he got like a pretty cool life experience out of that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. And I guess that like the point is you don't have to feel bad if what you do for a living isn't what you love to do.
No, I don't think it's bad, because if everybody only did what they love to do, there'd be plenty of jobs that weren't filled anyway. Yeah. Plenty of skilled positions that you need.
I know, I don't think every welder out there loves to weld, and that's like their passion, but they go and they do a good job. They're probably proud of the work they do, you know? Or like repairing air conditioners. You might not like have a passion for repairing air conditioners, but you might like enough of like the mechanical tinkering process to get some fulfillment out of it.
Yeah. Or let's say you're a web developer, but you don't like programming, but web development allowed you to work remotely, which allows you to travel, and you really love traveling.
Yeah, exactly.
You learn the skill that enabled what you want.
Okay, so, and I've been looking at the chat, but I can't look at the chat. You know what we should do? We should like hire a moderator or something to pull good questions out at some point. That may be like a good note to put down for future episodes. We have 3.5 minutes left before that camera will turn off. So I want to be able to like end the stream before that camera turns off so we have the good audio and video. So I'm going to do one more question. How do you make yourself enjoy cooking?
How do I make myself enjoy cooking?
Yeah, because I had this problem for a long time, and I've just started to get into cooking and enjoying it, so I have some thoughts, but I used to hate it.
Yeah, I guess you probably have more relevant thoughts. I started to love cooking when I was vegetarian in college, and I loved it because I was learning about so many new foods.
Okay.
But I haven't cooked much recently since moving. Everything's still being set up.
Yeah.
But you just learned to like to cook, and you hated it before, which is
so
different.
much.
So I went from like neutral, I'm lazy, to liking to cook.
Mm-hmm.
But you went from hating it to liking to cook. So what are you doing?
I think the big thing is mental commitment up front. Because I think the main reason I've always hated cooking is because it takes a long time. There's a lot of steps. Part of it is with a lot of recipes, you just have to wait. But it's like it's not the kind of waiting where like with lasagna, I can throw it in the oven 45 minutes. I don't have to do anything, so I can go do what I want. That's fine. But the first step of lasagna is constantly monitoring the sauce. You might have to like cook it for 30 minutes, but you're stirring it every minute, so it's just coming back to it. But I found that before, the main reason I hated cooking is because I would want to be doing other things, and I never really committed to like, I'm going to spend the next 3 hours cooking. It was more of like maybe I can make dinner in 20 minutes and then go back to playing Overwatch or go back to working or something. So when I decide that, all right, the work day's finished at 6, I'm going to go cook dinner, and you know what? I might not get to do anything else tonight. I might not.
Cooking is its own activity.
I might be able to like watch one episode of Avatar with Anna later on, like 9 o'clock. It might take me 3 hours to cook this meal, and that's fine. And once I did that, like setting my intention allowed me to be a lot more meditative about the process of cooking. And now I'm finding that I actually enjoy it because I'm picking recipes not based on their quickness, but just based on them being a challenge for me. And then when they turn out well, it's like, whoa, I just made something that is really good. Like that's a lot of good positive reinforcement. And then the other thing that we've been doing is we don't cook every night because it gets exhausting. So we just cook in bulk.
That's fair.
So I made a Ukrainian recipe called borscht, and I ended up with enough of that for a week. And then we also make big lasagnas, and that's also probably enough food for a week. So I can cook Sunday and then be good.
Yeah, so you can afford to give the time to cook something fancy on Sunday if you know it's going to save you time the next several.
Yeah, and again, it's that batching concept. If you batch your tasks, then you can concentrate on them in one block of time and free up a whole lot of other time. So if I'm batching one giant cooking session where I get a week's worth of food, that's 7 days worth of not washing dishes. That's 7 days worth of not chopping up vegetables, mincing up herbs and spices and stuff like that. It's all concentrated in one period of time. So I can tell myself, you only got to do this once. You have the entire rest of the week to play video games or practice guitar or go hang out with friends or whatever.
Yeah, because the food that you make in that several hour period maybe on Sunday is so much better than the divided what could you have made in 20 minutes 7 days a week.
Exactly, yeah. So we are just about out of time. I think that is where we're probably going to end this stream. I know, like...
Oh, P.S. I saw some Zelda or Mario. If you have to pick Zelda, but Mario Kart's also great. Just saying.
Yeah. Mario Kart 8 is amazing, and we are both, like...
Yeah, we're playing that right now.
Obsessed with it.
If you have to pick, though.
But Zelda Breath of the Wild is, like, one of the greatest games I've ever played. So... Sorry we can't do more questions. Once I get a camera that can record for more than half an hour, we can boost the length of these. And that's a big thing because the podcast is actually usually longer than half an hour. But if you look down in the description of this video, you'll find a link to our podcast, or just go to youtube.com/thecollegeinfogeekpodcast. And we have, I don't know what, like 60 some episodes on the channel. There's 100 past episodes on our feed that we haven't put on the channel. So
Oh, and a couple questions I saw running through there that we don't have time to answer right now are in my plans for the next several podcast episodes.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
So guys, thank you for watching. You'll also find both of our Twitter accounts down in the description below, so check those out. And we'll see you next time we go live. So thanks for watching.